Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weekly meltdown. I feel like I want to say coverage of Big Brother 22.
Not quite.
That's not what we're doing. Here's the live feed recap. Nicole won HOH, Nicole won veto, Memphis is going home. That's literally it. That's
Hey, it was a great week for me, and that's it. Okay, that's it.
So we decided for this week's show, we're going to do something a little off topic. You know, we always talk about how Survivor's cast is so much better than Big Brother's and how Big Brother constantly lets us down, especially with like this all-star season. So we figured like everybody's a little tense right now. Everybody's a little pissed about something or another. Let's just have some fun tonight. So I figured like, why don't we cast a Big Brother all-star season but with Survivor cast members. So that's what we are going to do here tonight. And I have the brand steel up and ready for us to go back and forth, putting in these names.
And I want it known, I have my notes ready.
I love it.
This is my work notebook as well. And I love that I literally have like work stuff over on this page and then it continues to just Survivor.
I love it. That sounds like me in college, like making like Survivor simulations before like brand steel was even a thing, instead of paying attention to class. But you know, whatever. I'm an artist.
I love that. Yeah. Some people were doodling about their crushes. Tyler was just making up a dream cast of Survivor.
I mean, I was literally putting my acapella group into like a Big Brother simulation and like voting people out.
You were in an acapella group?
I was president of the acapella group.
Why have we never discussed this? This is crazy.
I brought my team to ICCAs for the first time in the college's history to compete. So I loved my time in acapella. It was my favorite part about college.
Listen, I love acapella. I love singing. I love choirs. It's all good. This is fantastic.
So Beth, why don't you go into the rules that we have, our ground rules for tonight?
Sure. So before we do so, I just want to quickly say hello to Chris Dixon, my quote unquote fake brother. No, I'm just kidding. So Chris Dixon, hope you're doing well. We have Matt Henning in the chat. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Ethan Cole, hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. And anybody else who's in the chat, Valencia's here. We love our family. So welcome on in. I hope you're all doing really well. And let's have just like an hour to take a deep breath and laugh a little bit. So we came up with some ground rules, which I just moved my page off of course. But basically, Tyler came up with the idea of doing this casting using Survivor castaways to do a Big Brother All-Star season. So some of the parameters we put was that we are not going to choose winners for Survivor. We're going to choose an equal amount of men and women. We also decided to do at least one person from seasons 1 through 10, and then 11 through 20, 21 through 30, and then 31 through 38, or 39, sorry. So we wanted to make sure we had a good mix of old school, new school, and we also can't repeat seasons. So where this gets difficult is that there are some people who have played on like 4 seasons, so we have to count all of those seasons that they played on out. So if that gets to be too hard, we might be a little lenient with that. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yes. And so after this is done, I will tweet out the link to the brand steel. So if you want to play through the simulation, see how it shakes out, you can do that. But I feel like once Allison's doing a little bit better, I think the 3 of us are going to do a brand steel going through this season and seeing how it all shakes out and everything. So with that being said, I'm going to get started with the first pick. And I'm going to start with the first guy picked. So I have my little short list here. And I think I want to start with, give me Jamal Shipman from
Jamal's
39.
on my list. So here's the other thing too. We had to create so many different like safety people just in case, because we all know Tyler and I have many similar thoughts when it comes to Survivor and players, but also just in case we ended up choosing people. So love this.
Yes.
Love Jamal. Great pick. Why did you choose Jamal?
I just think that he is such an intelligent person. I think that he really got the raw end of the deal in Survivor 39, as many people did, let's be real. And I also really loved talking to him after Sequester when we interviewed him. I just think that he has a great mind for this game. I think that he is just so cool, calm, and collected. And I think that he is just a fresh face for modern Survivor. in terms of like somebody who's just there to play and love his experience instead of like worrying about the followers or worrying about the social media presence of it all. And I want to reward that good behavior. So I'm going to reward that with him going into the house.
I love that. I think he's a great choice. I put him in there for all those same reasons, but I think that he showed both in Survivor and in Sequester that he has a real aptitude to use his social prowess in these kind of social strategic games. And I would love to see him tackle a game like Big Brother, which has a longer time period. And I would argue puts you under the pressure cooker a little bit more. He seems very calm, cool, collected, and I kind of want to see what would it be like to have Jamal in there. So
yes. So unfortunately, we can't put like the picture up like until I go through this.
That's okay.
Whoops. Sorry, I'm like.
Brandon says, "Tell Tyler to do custom edit."
Custom edit. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Brandon. Appreciate it. Brandon is in my Twitch channel. As a reminder, you can watch us both on Twitch and on YouTube. I actually think we could also watch us live on the My Weekly Meltdown Facebook page. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that's correct.
Multiple ways to watch.
So I think how we're going to do this, Beth, is like the top row for the guys and the bottom row for the women. Let me see.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. There. Awesome. This is so cool. Yay. Sorry, I'm like fumbling through this. I haven't done this this kind of brain stew before, but thank you. Okay, so Beth, you're going to pick our first woman. So let's hear it.
When I think about people who I like seeing in Big Brother, I like people who are willing to make moves and be strategic, but I also want people who are going to be entertaining on feeds. It's somebody I think we know has been entertaining in the drama that they've caused on the island, but it's also been so incredible to watch on Sequester as well, is Abby Maria. I need an Abby Maria in the Big Brother house like you wouldn't believe. Those are the feeds I need to see.
I really considered her. This is a really good pick.
She is my absolute number one pick. Would love to see Abby Maria in this house.
All right. So that is our first female pick. You know, maybe there could be a Sequester alliance going on in the Big Brother house, depending on how things shake out. I know Abby would be the first to try and put that together, and probably the first to turn her back on it.
Her back on it. I love that.
Okay, so now I'm going to pick the next girl. So let's see. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna go old school with this one. Okay. This is somebody who has played 3 times. Somebody who's gotten very close to the end, and if she won this competition, maybe just like a second or two earlier, we're talking about her as the winner of Heroes vs. Villains instead of Sandra, instead of Parvati, instead of Russell. I loved her arc over these 3 seasons, and I feel like it was complete. But now it's not complete until she goes into the Big Brother house and tries to win it all. So I'm going to say, give me Jerry Manthe from Survivor Australia.
I almost put her on my list for the same reasons. And also because that is also another person that I need to see on feeds. That is someone I would love to see. What is a conversation with Jerry Manthe really like? You know?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think about like the problems with this season of Big Brother and how like it's just like a steamroll of people that are just complacent about being in a majority alliance and just like sailing to the end and giving Cody the victory. And I'm trying to pick players that I feel like are the opposite of that, right? Jerry is not somebody that's just going to lay down and die. She's going to go out swinging. She's going to try to do everything she can. And you're right. Like she is just like such entertaining, or I feel she would be entertaining feeds. But so give me Jerry Manthe. That's some good old school representation as well. So that is my pick. So she's my number one pick.
Ooh, okay. What I'm going to do is actually keep score of which seasons we've chosen, because we might actually get to a point where we're like, oh crap, we might have to double dip what we don't want. So right now, 39, 25, 31, 34, 2, 8, and 20 are off the table.
Yeah, Wentworth is now off the table.
Cerie's off the table.
Yeah.
Like, this is interesting. This is an interesting way to do this because it makes you figure out like who is a priority that I want to see in a Big Brother house over other people, like over someone like Suri, so over someone like Wentworth. So it's really interesting.
I mean, depending on how it shakes out, maybe we'll throw Suri in there.
We might throw somebody else in there. Like I said, we might get to the point where it's like, if all we have left is like one world, then we might have to just kidding. There's some people in one world I would absolutely throw in the house. But.
Yeah. But just one more thing to say about Jerry Manthe. So I was talking to my boyfriend about like who is like reality TV royalty, because we started talking about like Heidi and Spencer from The Hills. And I said, like, I feel like they are on like reality like there are certain people that are like royalty in reality TV, and I feel like from Survivor there's a few people too, so like Boston Rob, of course, Parvati, of course, but honestly I think Jerry is one of them. She is the original villain and the original female villain too, and she owned it. I mean, let's talk about the reunion for Survivor All Stars when people booed her off stage for like giving her opinion and saying like, listen, we are people. We are not just reality TV characters. We are real, actual people. And I just feel like Jerry is one of those people that like just like sticks in your mind like 20 years later, right?
Totally.
And I just feel like that royalty deserves this spot here. So that's like my number one pick. So I just wanted to like really, really bring it home the reasons why. But sorry, go ahead, Beth.
No, I think that's great reasoning. Someone did mention in the chat, I like completely blacked out and thought that Abby was spent on 3 seasons. I thought that she was on Game Changers, but she wasn't. So we still have 34 available. But
yeah.
All right. So the next person I'm going to choose. I can't choose that person anymore. The next person I'm going to choose is a guy. And it's somebody who I think really is a lot of fun, a wonderful personality, was a great strategic player in terms of working with an alliance. He's really loyal, and I would love to see him as somebody. I think he's the full package, and that is Davey from David versus Goliath.
Okay, all right. Davey was not on my list. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, like I said, I think that Davey is somebody that it was like a central glue person. Like he was like the reason why people came together. He was good at reading the room. He was good at figuring out what do I need to do with all these advantages. He helped orchestrate so many like little and big moves, all while having a smile on his face, while being a social strategic player. And he's somebody that I think would be fun to watch in the house. So I would love to see Davey come back.
Sure. My only concern about this pick is you know who that takes out, right? Angelina. And I will like die on this hill. Angelina should have won David versus Goliath. That would have easily been my vote for the win that season. But Davey's a good choice. I think that's really I don't know. I feel like I need to like revisit that season because I feel like there's like Christian and Angelina took up like so much of the airtime that I feel like I lose sight of like what Davey did, what Gabby did, what Dan did, you know, like all these like supporting characters. But I feel like Davey is like a good supporting character, and I feel like he would be good feeds for the Big Brother house too.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm trying to choose people that when I think of the Big Brother seasons that I've watched, the ones that are good are the ones that have a good balance of like complete super fans in terms of like strategic prowess and social strategy and personality and charisma, but also could win competitions, but then also at the same time provide really good quality feeds, both in terms of drama and in terms of like little things like pulling pranks or playing games, or even just being an interesting person to listen to. And I feel like Davey would be a fun loving person to have in the house. So that's why I'm excited to have him in there.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to go. I have the next pick. I have the next woman. And I'm going with Modern Survivor this season.
You have the next guy.
Oh, I have the next guy?
Yeah, because I just went after you.
You're right. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see.
We're going to snake it.
Yeah. So my next guy is somebody who's very familiar to anybody that listens to these podcasts. Somebody who has a really great mind, intellect for the game. Oh, wait, I can't pick him because he was in All-Stars with Jerry. I was going to pick Rob Sesternino. Well, we
I
can't do that.
considered Rob, but I couldn't. Yep, we can't do it.
We can't do that. Okay. So
I like this added challenge. We'll see. Like, it's hard now, and I can't wait to see if we have to get to a point where we just give it up. But
no, this is a good challenge, though. I like this.
I like this challenge a lot.
Let's see. So I'm looking at who we have so far, and what does this cast need, right? I feel like we have some good social players. I feel like we have some good, strong personalities already. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball here. Probably somebody that not everybody is expecting. Probably somebody that not a lot of people remember too well, but I think had a really great mind for the game. He's a fellow gamer like myself and Beth too. So that's somebody that I can always root for. And I just feel like he's going to bring the strategy to something like Big Brother. So give me Ken Hoang from Survivor Gabon.
Ooh, interesting choice. Wasn't even on my radar. Love it.
Yeah, when I was going through like the list of like all the survivors, I was like, man, I really liked him. I wish that he had a second chance at some point. I feel like he was rumored for Survivor Heroes versus Villains, but obviously he didn't make the cut there. But he has made the cut for this Big Brother season. So give me Ken Hoang. There we go.
Yeah, he's a good pick. I have not seen Gabon since it
It's a mess.
What?
It's a mess.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since it aired, and I honestly don't remember it that well, but I remember Ken vaguely. So that's why if it's a forgettable season for me and I still remember you, that says something about you.
yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's a great pick. I feel like what's going to be great about this, especially as we get farther in, is going to make us choose people that have maybe been forgotten, that were great game players, that aren't some of the big names, that we wouldn't be, we can't put this person on because we got rid of All-Stars and Heroes versus Villains and Game Changers and all those things. So that's why I'm excited to see what we do here.
Yes. So now Gabon is off the table. I feel like I need to write down like the seasons that are off the table now too. So 39 is off the table.
39, 25, 31, 2, 8, 20, 37, and 17.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, Beth. Let's hear your next pick.
Whew, okay, so I'm looking at the women I have left, and this is somebody who I loved. She doesn't get a lot of, I think that she's often forgotten. I really wish she wasn't. But you do see her in montage clips because she just owned Fans versus Favorites in Micronesia, especially at the very end. And that is Natalie. I would love to see Natalie come back from Micronesia. I need her in that house as well. She's another person that is not afraid to say what's on her mind. She could put together an all-woman alliance, or at least be a part of one, just like the Black Widow Brigade?
The Black Widow Brigade, I think. Yeah.
Black Widow Brigade. And she would just be amazing. Natalie Bolton is just a queen. I would love to see her in that house. And especially with that final tribal council being all about like sex appeal and such, I can't wait to see who she gets up to on the feeds.
So I'll admit something, Beth. That season is like one of like very few that I have not seen. But of course I know who she is because of the whole Black Widow Brigade and the infamous clip that gets played like literally every season. But she is somebody that was on, she was the alternate for Heroes versus Villains. And I think Danielle De Lorenza took her spot. She even like flew out to Samoa, and she had like a cast photo for that season and everything. Like that's how close she was to being on Heroes versus Villains. But I mean, I think it's a great choice. I think Big Brother always needs like more stronger female players. I feel like it's really lacking in that, and I feel like Natalie Bolton is the answer for that. So really great choice.
I would love for us to do at some point a rewatch coverage of Micronesia. It is a great season. It's probably one of my favorite seasons of all time. Fans versus favorites. It's the first one. So you get to see some people that were older school come back for their second time and play against some newbies. And there's just so many iconic moments that happen in it that you absolutely would love, especially because there's just so many strong women. It's a great season for women. So.
All right, let's see. Sorry, I'm just like writing down the seasons in order that we've taken off the table. Gotcha. 37, 39. Okay, all right, cool. So season 16 is off the table. Okay, so now I have the next woman, correct? I think so. Yes. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go with a runner-up, somebody from Modern Survivor, somebody that, in my opinion, is the one that should have won that did not win.
Ooh, okay.
She is very, very strong in challenges. Has a great mind, a great intellect for these games. And anytime she makes an appearance on RHAP or anything else, I even listen to her TED Talk. Like I just like hinge on like every word this woman says, because I just think she's so smart, so bright, and so captivating as a reality TV character. So I'm going to say, give me Chrissy Hofbeck.
Yes, I knew you were going to do Chrissy. I didn't even write Chrissy down because I knew that you were going to choose Chrissy at some point. So it was like worthless for me to put it on my list.
Yeah. I mean, she is really like, casting really did a great job when they found her. I can't say enough good things about her. I was rooting for her all season long. And it's a shame that she didn't win that season. And it's something that I'm still like so angry about, the fact that she lost to I can't even Ben of all people. Yeah.
I was like, are you really going to forget after season
like
40? And
that out for my mind.
How many times during season 40 did we hear you say, just think, guys, we could have Chrissy out there instead of Ben right now?
Yeah, it's true. And so that's what we're here to do, Beth, is to right the wrong of Survivor history by putting Chrissy in the Big Brother house. Chrissy's going to win it all. I'm telling you right now. Her and Ken are going to be in an alliance, and they're going to run it all the way until final two. And we love to see it. I love it. So yeah, give me Chrissy Hofbeck, and that puts season 35 off the table. But I don't really think there's anybody else from that season that I would consider.
No, good.
But
the only other person I might have put in there was like Devin from that season, and that might have been it. But
yeah. I considered him too, but I had Malcolm on the table instead. But like, we can't pick Malcolm now because he was in Philippines in Game Changers. Do you have any thoughts about Chrissy?
No, I just think that she's a great choice. In terms, legitimate robbery is 100% correct. Chrissy is amazing. Loved her on the season. Knew from the edit she wasn't going to win, which was unfortunate. I felt like the edit was so heavily skewed towards Ben that I think that on a rewatch that I was able to do of like some of the episodes, not all of them, I was able to see a lot more of the intricacies that she was doing. And I was just continually blown away. I really wish that Chrissy had won. I know that my vote would have gone to her. Both times I watched it would have gone to her, but I just was able to understand the intricacies of her game the second time. So love it.
She's a lot more classy than I am, because like anytime she goes on podcast, she's like, Ben's a great player. He's a great winner. Like he gets like way too much crap. And I'm like, I don't agree with that at all, but you're just way too nice and good of a person. So that just speaks to just like her character. And also like, I feel like she's great at feeds too. I feel like the stories that she has to tell, I feel like the advice that she can give some of these younger people playing the game. I feel like if she was on Big Brother, like my camera choice would be on her like 24/7, because she's just that captivating. I can't wait to see
Chrissy, Jerry, and Abby in a conversation. Like, what does that look like?
I love it.
You know what I mean? Like, my goodness, it'd be fantastic.
All right, Beth. So let's hear your next pick.
I'm going to go old school. This is somebody who I think gets overshadowed as a game player. He really, he did himself in, but he got his target out. He got Boston Rob out. That's right. I'm talking about season 4, Marquesas is John Carroll. I think John is a great person to put in this game. We actually got to see him play Sequester, where he did really well, made the bonds that he needed to, really relied on social bonds both before and after the game, or during the game, I mean, and was able to use the positions he was in, whether he's at the bottom of the totem pole or higher, to his advantage. And I really would love to see John Carroll come back and onto reality television.
Do you remember if Abby Maria like screwed over John Carroll in Sequester? I feel like she did.
To be honest, Abby was so drunk that I don't know if she intentionally ever screwed him over or if it just happened. She did. Actually, there was safety chain.
That's right.
It was the safety chain where she did that. I'm also, guys, shout out to Stephen Daigle, who's in the chat. We've been missing you, man. And he did come up with the idea. I have a BB-19 style night one eviction, swap me in with whoever gets booted. We love that idea.
I love it. I love it so much. Stephen, thank you.
Stephen, with that cowboy hat, you could basically be Colby.
Yeah. Yeah. And he says he fully supports this pick, not for any specific reason. Yeah.
I wonder. Yeah. Any thoughts on John?
Not really. I mean, I enjoyed that he played Sequester, so I feel like he is more active than a lot of these old schoolers are in the community, which is always good. That passion for the game always translates well to things like Survivor, Big Brother, Sequester, all that stuff. And I don't know. I like the pick. I haven't seen Marquesas in like forever, so I'm a little rusty on like how he played, but I do remember liking him. Obviously, right. Not for any specific reason like Steven. But yeah, so we're halfway through right now. How do you think this cast is shaping out? What do you think about it so far?
I think this is great. I think John, for example, I think that we have 3 people up on the 4 people. All 4 of the guys are really more laid back than I think the women are, which I think is a really interesting perspective, because sometimes in Big Brother, it's the other way around, where the guys tend to be really dominant, can be like aggressive game players. And I think what we see here are, for the exception of potentially John to a certain extent, I think we see a lot of people who are willing to like bide their time. And then conversely, I think maybe for the exception of Chrissy, but Chrissy can turn it on. We've got some firecracker women. So I think this would be a really fun house to watch already. And I really already love this house.
Yeah, I do too. I'm really happy with this. So.
CBS, can we call CBS and be like, kick casting out. Yeah, we've got this.
We've got it. Like, don't worry.
We're good.
Yeah. All right. So I picked the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is tough. I feel like you said, all the guys so far are like a little laid back. So I want a little chaos, right? I want some energy. And I'm like down to like 2 people. I
have 2 really chaotic guys that I'm hoping I can
One's from Millennials versus Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
One's from Kagion. So okay. I'm going like pseudo modern. So I'm gonna go with Jay Starrett from Survivor Millennials versus Gen X.
Great choice. I had him on my list.
So I feel like he's so like young and like energetic and youthful, and I feel like he's just going to make these hinky votes in the diary room, not care, cause a little chaos. I feel like he's going to like flip between alliances and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't see him getting along well with Abby Maria, which is always a lot of fun.
Agreed.
And I also just thought he was a really great player in Survivor Millennials versus Gen X. I mean, that I always remember that conversation with him and Adam on the hammock. And I feel like he's just such a good character in terms of like, he's always like saying what's on his mind. He's always like scrappy. He's been on the challenge a few times as well. And really, I think he took out CT in a competition, which is like a big deal. Correct me if I'm wrong about that in the chat, because I didn't see the whole season. But I heard good things about his time on the challenge. So I feel like that could be something really great for Survivor as well. I feel like we're a little strategy heavy with the guys. So I want to do somebody a little bit more social, maybe somebody that will like flirt with the girls a little bit too. But I don't really see any girls that he can flirt with yet. So so we'll see. But I'm going with Jay.
Great choice. Jay's someone that I also had on my short list. He's the only person, the only guy I would have considered from Millennials versus Gen X that we could have done. Although I would have considered Zeke actually also, but because we didn't have 34 yet, so that's good. But Jay's a really good choice. He is unafraid to stand up for himself strategically and in a personal sense. And I can see him causing some issues on feeds, and they would like not even intentionally, but then just like standing by the decision. Like I would love to see him on there. So.
All right. You have the next pick.
All right. So I want to take a step back on the girl side and find someone who I think is calm, cool, collected, super social, and is somebody who I feel like is going to have so many great bonds with people. I see her working with a Jay and a John, a Davey, a Jamal. But I also see her working with like a Natalie and a Chrissy. It's someone who I think gets, just because of how good the winner from her season was, she kind of gets overshadowed. But I'm going to choose Chelsea from One World.
Okay. I'm really excited about this pick, but go ahead.
Yeah. I loved Chelsea's gameplay. I actually think that Kim wouldn't have gotten the win if it wasn't for Chelsea. Chelsea was the ride or die that she needed. She was the soldier she needed. She was the great strategic, what am I trying to say? Like a partner in crime. I mean, she really, if it wasn't for Chelsea, Kim's moves wouldn't have happened. She really needed someone like Chelsea in the game. And I could see Chelsea, like I could see Chelsea and Chrissy being like such a dynamic duo in this kind of cast. So I would love to see her on there.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with everything you're saying, Beth. She was on my list as well. And I constantly feel like Chelsea Meissner is like one of the most underrated Survivor players across the whole 40 seasons. And exactly to your point, like I feel like Kim was just like such a dominant winner that Chelsea's like really hidden in the shadow of that dominance. But you're right, like she had a heavy hand in like so many choices that happened and like so many gameplay moves and everything like that. So I would love to see Chelsea back again. And I feel like she would be really good for the feeds as well. Very social, very, very good player. I think that she's capable of winning some comps too. I think she's the triple threat. I think she's the one to look out for. And I feel like this cast might not take her seriously. They would think of her as like the hot blonde that's like on that Southern Charm series now,
right?
But really underestimate her capabilities in these games. And I can't say enough good things about this pick. Very, very good choice. This is why you and I are always on the same page.
I know. Seriously, I would love to see Chelsea come back for like an All-Stars, a fan versus favorites or something, any kind of a second chances kind of season. I think she'd do really well for Survivor. And I would like to point out that Tyler Wilfong in the chat said, I would have gone Alicia from One World just for the chaos. I'm chaotic, or like when it comes to this kind of stuff, I can't be that chaotic.
Yes.
That's just a level of like, no, I can't have that. Like Abby's my kind of chaos. Alicia is just too mean girl for me. Like,
and she said some like really problematic things that got her fired from her.
It's the same reason why I wouldn't be choosing Colton, for example, as a guy, even though he'd be wonderful to watch under the pressure cooker in the house.
That's true. That is true. Okay, so I have the next woman. Man, I love that Chelsea pick. Great job on that. Let's see. I just have never like talked to somebody about like Chelsea being a really good player in this game, because I feel like nobody ever talks about it. So you and I are like literally on the same page about
I'm excited.
That makes me so happy. Okay, so the next person I'm going to pick is from like mid-school Survivor, pre-Heroes versus Villains, but somebody who played a really dominant game, who was also undershadowed by the winner of the season, kind of having that in common with Chelsea. She was really able to like maneuver this alliance of three throughout the entire season. And she's just such a ball of joy, like somebody who is extremely rootable. So give me, let me see, what's her? Give me Taj from season 18.
That was literally someone else on my list. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I need Taj back on ASAP.
Yes.
Taj was like my favorite person on Tocantins. Love her to death. Absolutely. I'm sitting here looking and I was like, I only get one more woman pick. And I was trying to choose between her and another woman. And I am so excited you chose Taj. She's so underrated. I love her. I want to see her back. And in the Big Brother house, in this kind of cast would be iconic.
I feel like she would be really good at Big Brother.
She would be so good. I'm like so excited. Like the way that you were excited about Chelsea, like this is like a back-to-back moment I'm very excited about.
Beth, we're crafting the perfect season.
I know. Okay, everyone right now, tweet at CBS and be like, make this happen. Make this happen. Tyler and Beth kick casting to the curb. Tyler and Beth got this down.
Yes.
Seriously.
And another great thing about Taj is that like her and her husband are like so like filthy rich that like the money doesn't matter. Like she played Survivor for the experience and just the love and the integrity of the game. And you know that's even more with Big Brother being 500,000 instead of $1 million. So I feel like she would just go in there, just like play her heart out and really just have fun with it. I feel like she would be like an Enzo type of character, somebody who's like very charismatic, very social, but also a great like strategic mind for the game, but somebody that can like bring alliances and groups together. And her likability like really just soars her like through the entire season. So give me Taj.
Love it.
All right,
Love
go ahead.
Okay. I heard people saying Philip Shepard in the chat, and we can technically do Philip. That would be so chaotic because we don't have 22 or 26 represented yet. But I'm not going to do Philip. Instead, I'm going to choose someone who I think would be just the most amazing feeds. From San Juan del Sur, Drew Christy for the win. This is purely for feeds, for nothing else but for feeds. I need Drew Christy checking himself out in the reflection of the cameras. Like I need Drew Christy thinking that he is masterminding everything. I want to see those diary room sessions and then the like little moments where like other people are talking about him and it cuts to him just being like playing and doing something weird, like the way that Big Brother edits all of that kind of stuff. Like I need the Drew Christy Big Brother edit like crazy. And because we have mostly guys who
I hate that picture. Sorry, go ahead.
Wait, but that picture is another reason why I need him in this house. Like, look at the guys we have. We have nobody like him right now in this house. Yeah. And we need someone. He's a fun, Pokebud just said fun train wreck. Yes, fun train wreck. He's a great Stephen like Daigle said.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yes. I think that he's somebody that genuinely wouldn't care what people are saying at home. I think that he would play and do things for himself. I think that he would put himself forward. And ultimately, that's what makes either a good player in Big Brother or a really entertaining train wreck. And that's what I need out of Drew. So I think that Drew Christy would have been great. I had other choices from San Juan del Sur that I was thinking of. I'd been thinking about Nadia instead of Natalie because I thought that would be interesting. I had thought about Reed and Josh. I thought that, there's actually so many people that you could probably put in this game, right? But but I think that Drew Christy is such a, you could put Keith Nail in there. Well, you couldn't do Keith right now. Do Wes Nail?
Keith Nail was somebody I considered for this season.
I did too, but we got rid of it because of Abby from the get-go. But
yeah. So I feel like I don't give Drew Christy a fair shake because I just really hate San Juan del Sur as a season.
I don't like the season either, but I like some of the characters. The reason why I don't like the season is because there were just so many unlikable people in the moment.
Yeah.
And like I found Baylor and Missy like absolutely annoying and entitled. But like the Christy brothers were hysterical to me. Like the you know, Keith and Wes were hysterical to me. But then you had like, it was just so good.
I think that's a good choice just for like an entertainment purpose. I don't know. I feel like the like Big Brother always does like the Caitlin Herman, like the messy woman, right? And I feel like it's a nice flip to have like a messy guy instead. Yeah. So you know, this is a good pick. I need to just put my feelings aside about San Juan del Sur and accept it. But okay, so this is my last pick for the guys, and I'm going to pick somebody that is a very rootable person, somebody who is from old school season of Survivor, somebody who is infamous for just staying up on endurance competition.
I am so sorry. I have to interrupt you very quickly.
Yeah.
On my Twitch channel, we just got a raid from Barrick the Cleric. Thank you all so much for coming in. We are doing a podcast about what we're trying to do is cast a Big Brother All-Star season using Survivor castaways. We have certain rules and such that we're doing right now, but thank you so much, Barrick the Cleric. Thank you so much. Hope you had a wonderful stream. And we'll get right back to Tyler right now. I just wanted to take that moment.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrick the Cleric, for that. Okay, so like I was saying, like I want somebody who is like a very rootable person, somebody who we saw his heart on his sleeve the entire season, and stood up on a pole in the final 3 for like, I think like 11 or 12 hours before he gave up the $1 million because the friendship meant more to him. And of course, I'm talking about Ian Rosenberger from Survivor Palau.
Ooh. That's a good one.
Yeah. I just listened to, I think Robin and T-Bird did a interview with him recently. And he's just done like so many like great like humanitarian work like throughout his entire life. He sounds exactly the same. He sounds just as like chaotic and like jumpy and like skitty, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I feel like that nervous energy is something that I relate to very well, but also can make for some really good things entertainment-wise in the Big Brother house. You know, I imagine like him as HOH and like having like a conversation that like goes a little messy and causes like a little like doubt in the house. And I feel like he's somebody that could give us like some really good tears in the diary room too. But totally. Also somebody that we know can do endurance comps. Like I miss old Big Brother endurance comps where like they were up there for hours and hours and hours. And like, how bad do you want it? And I can't think of anybody better in Survivor history that is known for their endurance competition prowess than Ian Rosenberger. And, you know, if anybody deserves a second chance and deserves like a win in one of these games, I hate the word deserve in reality TV, but
right.
I think it's Ian. I think that people like still have such a soft place in their heart for him still to this day. And that really goes to show like how memorable of a character, of a player he was. You know, he really enabled Tom to do a lot of his dirty work like throughout the entire season, similar to how Chelsea did with Kim. And I feel like people don't talk about Ian as the player enough. Like people talk about him as a character, of course, but not as a good player. So I'm going to say, Give me Ian.
I love that. I think that what we have, you know, Matthew Henning's in the chat saying we don't have a good balance of social and strategic here, but I really think if you look at some of these players, I mean, Jamal, Davey, Jerry, Natalie, Chrissy, Chelsea, Taj, Jay and Ian are even like, these are all really good strategic players. They just were overshadowed by somebody else in their season. Unless you're Jerry, I think Jerry is kind of clear.
I also just see a lot of fluidity with alliances between these people. Like I what we don't want is the committee. What we don't want is like the bomb squad. We don't want this like big giant alliance that's just gonna like steamroll. And I don't think that this cast is capable of a boring season like that.
No, I agree. I agree.
All right, go ahead.
All right. I'm going to choose for my last women pick somebody who is chaos, but is super strategic, who knows how to get their way and has proved it more so in Sequester than they did in Survivor. We need Jatia in this game like you wouldn't believe. Give me Jatia. I've gotten to know Jatia a little bit. I've modded with her in Sequester games. We've done some like werewolf kind of games and that kind of thing. Jatia is incredibly brilliant. She has proven, she won Sequester. She made it to jury another time on Sequester. Like she's played 3 times actually. And she's just done well every single time. I don't think that Survivor was her game. I think Big Brother would be her game. I see her working so well with so many of the women here. I see her working with quite a few of the men. And I think that she would be just so iconic in that house.
Yeah, Matt in the chat is saying we don't have enough strategy. Let's give it to Jatia to really run the ship the entire season. And I feel like she could too. Of course, she's from the original Brains in Tribe in Cagayan, which is notoriously messy. But she has really proven herself on Sequester to be a hell of a game player and somebody who's like, so adaptable. So like a really good strategic player, somebody who threw rice in the fire. Like what better can you get, right? I think that this is a really fantastic choice. So that is your last female pick for the season. So
she's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Henning said I'd like Jatia to throw the slop in the pool.
I love that. As long as it's not like a situation, I love that.
I would love to see so many, like this would be amazing. Yeah, Tyler, you're 100% correct. Jatia or Bryce had to be the Cagayan picks. They both would have been fantastic. Bryce would have been fantastic.
I also had Cass on my list too, as somebody who just like brings the chaos. I really love Cass as a character.
I know.
She's the antagonizer. She's just such a little shit, and I love it. Okay, so let's see. I'm looking at like my short list, and it's like, nope, can't pick that person, this person, this person. Pretty much everybody from my short list is. I
have 2 women left on the short list. That's it.
Do you want to give me those 2 women?
Sure. One's T-Bird.
Okay. Who's the other?
Then Carolyn.
Let's see.
Which was funny because I looked down and Matt said, if it's not Carolyn, it's wrong. And I was like, well, if I had 2 other people, Carolyn was one of them.
Let's see. This is tough. Pokemon just gave us the seasons that are available.
Perfect.
Still.
Pokemon, you're amazing.
Pokemon. Oh my God. God bless. Let's see. Survivor China. I feel like we can get a good woman from there. But the hard part is like the people that are memorable from China have gone on to play other seasons like Heroes vs. Villains.
So you can't choose Amanda, you can't choose Courtney. There's so many like that.
This is tough. Do you want to build anticipation about talking about the cast while I look through and find somebody?
Sure. Okay. So I really do think that this is a pretty balanced cast. I think there are some drama makers here. I would love to see Jatia put Drew Christy in his place. I would love to see Abby Maria get into some kind of argument with Jay, for example. I would love to see Jamal really talking about, marginalized identities and such, and creating those social bonds with people. I would love to see Chelsea just absolutely running such an under the radar, great floater game. Like, I don't think that she'd be a rat floater. I think she'd just be a wonderful float to power. Everyone thinks they have her in her back pocket, similar to the way that a lot of people thought that like Tyler was in their back pocket in BB20. I could see her almost kind of playing a similar game to that. I would love, like, Taj would just be like in the spotlight the whole time. Like, this is such an underrated cast already. I think this would be a wonderful thing.
All right. So Pokemon pointed out that Survivor 38 is available, and I'm looking at that season, Edge of Extinction, just to see if there's anybody. And of course, like, it's no secret here that I love Victoria from Survivor 38. But my question is, like, do I see her fitting in with this group? I don't think so. I feel like she would be a.
Do they have to fit in, or do they have to fill a role?
No, but like I don't wish first boot on Victoria is what I'm saying.
I got it.
Let's see. So, okay, I know. So give me Lauren O'Connell from Survivor 38.
Love Lauren, great choice.
Yes. I feel like we need another like young, good-looking comp beast woman. And I just loved her dynamic with Kelly Wentworth. I was really rooting for her, War Dog and Kelly, that whole season. And I think that she has just such a great personality, very charming, very like vivacious, and I feel like could fit in with like pretty much like any group that shakes down this season. So give me Lauren O'Connell for the last one.
Great choice. She also was a fantastic social threat, showed a lot of loyalty in the Sequester game that she played. She was able to kind of go back and forth with some people, and they didn't really realize it. And so I feel like in a longer term game, I feel like like in a weird way. So you have a Sequester mini, which is super short. And then you have Survivor, which is, 39 days. And you have Big Brother, which is like close to 100. So for these people that would be going from like a medium length game, some of them have played a Sequester game. There are some Sequester little alliances in here. There's some people who have played there that we're a little bit more familiar with because that's the game they played most recently. So it lives in our minds for those of us that watch. This is someone I think that would be really interesting. I feel like the comps are better suited for her in Big Brother than they were in Survivor. So I feel like she's a really good choice.
Totally. And some people are saying in the chat, like, she never won an immunity, but she was so close, like so many times. And also I wanted to pick out, so Pokemon said my pick would be Julia from Korong. I actually think that's a really excellent choice. I think Julia was a really great player. And also, in my opinion, the best intro shot out of like everybody in Survivor history in the theme song, her like her hair like flowing in the wind, like she just looks so beautiful. But she was such a great player for so young. And I think somebody pointed out, Lauren's the only woman under 30. So I was trying to think of like somebody like on the younger side too, for that reason. So
I think actually, if you look at the guys, I think
we've
Jay's
done a good job.
Jay's the only one I think in his 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe Davey. I don't know. I think Jamal's 30. I don't know.
I think he is.
All right. Well, my last pick for this whole thing is someone that I am a huge fan of. I love listening to him on podcasts. I think that he comes from a season that I strongly disliked. But I think that he proved himself, even though he got like a little crazy sometimes, that he was willing to kind of pull the trigger on bigger moves. I think he would bond really well with some of these calm, cool, collected guys, but I think that he would easily work with some of the girls as well. And that's Albert from South Pacific.
All right.
I think Albert, every time I listen to him on like Rob Has a Podcast or somebody or some other podcast, he proves time and time again how well he knows social strategy games, that he understands game theory. He understands social connections. He's incredibly intelligent. He's very social. He's very charismatic. And I really, really love Albert. I think that he's one of my favorite one of my favorite finalists who didn't win. He didn't even get a vote at the end, but he's somebody that I would love to see come back and play again. And I think that he's got the full package. I would I see a lot of Albert and Jamal working together, but they also could see each other as like threats because they're both so similar in so many ways. But it's there. I think that Albert would be so much fun to watch in the Big Brother house.
Definitely. And you also have to think too, like Big Brother with the live feeds, like they really try to cast like good looking people because we're like watching them all season long. I think Albert fits that bill pretty well too.
Mm-hmm. He's very attractive.
So I think that's a really great pick to close this out. Steven says Sophie is quick.
Sophie's quick. Listen, I believed that Sophie deserved that season and that she did everything she needed to do to win. Albert didn't stand a chance in that final 3. And I also don't know if he would have gotten there had it not been for Sophie reining him in a few times. But I do think that his experience having been on the show, made it to the end, and saw his partner in crime win would make him such a good Big Brother player.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so I'm going to tweet out the link for this simulated season if anybody wants to play through it. I'm sure that like eventually soon we will play through this brand steal live for you guys with our commentary. And I'm also going to go through, and because you can change like the personality, you can change like competition, like strategic, like all that stuff. So I'm going to like really play with that stuff to try and see like the most accurate way I think that brand steal can make it play out, just like I did for our Big Brother 22 before this season started. So once I do all of that stuff, that takes a little bit, but I will tweet out the link to that probably tomorrow at some point. But this is our season. So this is Big Brother All-Stars, Outwit, Outplay, Outlast. What are your thoughts about the cast overall, Beth? What are you thinking?
I think this is a really interesting cast. I think we've got a lot of strategic players in here. We have some really quiet, under the radar people. We got some pretty explosive personalities. We have people who aren't as strategic, but would be great fun feeds. We have people who are overly strategic, but that might do them in for a game that takes so much longer. I mean, we have to remember that when there's a turnover in Survivor, it's often on a 3-day cycle or a 2-day cycle, something that's relatively quick, right? With Big Brother, you have a week to put together a strategy, and little things are going to happen every couple of days. But after that veto is played and used, you've still got like 3 to 4 days before the vote happens. Like that's an entire voting time in immunity challenge in Survivor. So seeing some of these players have to adapt to the Big Brother slow roll gameplay, I think this is a really interesting cast that would make for a lot of fun feeds.
I do too. And I also think that just from like diversity in terms of like any way you shake it down. So like race, age, LGBT, all of that stuff. Like I feel like we are hitting, like checking all the boxes and making sure that this is a well-represented season. Also like split between like old school, middle school, new school. I was just counting. We have 18 seasons of Survivor represented here in this brand steal. And I think that that's pretty cool.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No,
I was just going to say, I really like the parameters that we set for ourselves too, because I feel like it's very easy to just like recast heroes versus villains in this cast. So I'm glad to see some names that have been forgotten about for a little bit. Some people that have been out of the loop of like playing recently or anything like that. So I'm really happy with this cast. I wouldn't change anything except for maybe Drew Christy, but
no, that's why I want him in there. That's why.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you have anybody left over on your list that you could have used that you didn't use?
Some honorable mentions.
Who are some of your honorable mentions? We know that I had said T-Bird and Carolyn for the women.
Let's see. No. I mean, like everybody that I picked has somebody else from the current seasons or like seasons that are already represented. I will say some names that I had on my short list that I couldn't pick because of that rule. So here are my women that I had on the short list. Stephanie LaGrossa.
Oh, Stephanie LaGrossa is a good one.
She would have been an endurance queen in this season of Big Brother.
Yes.
Sari Fields.
Oh, love Sari. Yep.
Courtney Yates, of course.
Yep.
I mean, what better feeds than that, right?
I would have loved to have put Courtney in there. But we couldn't.
Chaos Cass, of course. Kelly Wentworth, Aubrey Bracco, and Heidi Strobel from Amazon.
All right. So there's only one guy on my list that I put down that that could have been played, but we didn't do it, and that's Judd Sargent from Guatemala.
Judd's a good one.
I think that Judd would have been a fun personality to watch. There's no one like him in this house right now.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to choose between Drew Christy and Judd.
Yeah.
To fill that kind of role, but I felt like Drew is so good for a big brother personality that I went for him. But other people that I put down that I couldn't use, Jonathan Penner, Malcolm, we said that. I already said Josh Canfield and Reed Carr. Not Reed Carr. Reed Carr is the guy I went to college with. Hi, Reed Carr. If you're watching this, love you. And Reed. Lex. I'd put Lex down.
Yeah, I had that too.
I also had Serena. I had Amy from Vanuatu and Micronesia.
Oh, okay.
She would have been great.
Yeah.
Karishma.
I know. As soon as I picked Jamal, I was like, "Damn, we can't have Karishma now." But that's okay. She lives in our hearts and in Sequester.
That's right. I also had Courtney Yates. I had Michaela. I had Shireen.
I thought about Shireen too.
And then the last person that I thought would have been great was Corinne. But we had someone from Gabon chosen, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think that was going to happen.
So the guys that I had left were, of course, we talked about Malcolm already. Bryce Isaiah, of course. David Wright, of course. And Russell Hantz. A lot of people don't like him. I don't like him as a player in Survivor, but I feel like he would have brought that chaos, right? I think
Russell's a great choice. I don't even know why I didn't think of. Oh, you know what? I did have him down originally, but I have him like crossed out, and I don't know why I did that. But
probably because we picked Jerry, so he was ineligible. After Heroes versus Villains was off the table. But I stand by that Jerry pick. I think she is reality TV royalty, and she deserves this spot here. So I think with that being said, I think that's it. Wait, Beth, I want to hear your winner prediction and your first boot prediction.
Ooh, okay. Well,
because we're eventually going to be playing this out.
Yes. Okay. So winner prediction. Ooh. I'm going to go Taj. I think Taj, my winner prediction. I think my first boot has got to be Drew Christy. I hope it's not. I hope it's not, just because I want him to go in there and mess everything up. I think it'd be great. But
let's see. So I think a good first boot would probably be Abby Maria. I could see her just getting on like everybody's nerves. Because in Survivor, like if you've had it with somebody, you can just walk away from them. You can take a walk down the beach. But you can't do that in the Big Brother house. So I feel like that pressure cooker would just boil so quickly. And I think
my first choice for this is I was like, we gotta get Abby in there. She's played a couple times. I need her in that
house. And my winner pick, of course, is Chrissy Hofbeck. How can you not?
Oh, yeah.
But I think Taj is a really good pick too.
Do you think the men or the women are stronger in this house?
I think the women are more dominant. I think that they will be wearing the pants in the relationships in this house. I feel like all these guys are going to be very like, yes, I will do what you want. And I mean, looking at the board of guys, I don't really see anybody really standing up for themselves, except for like maybe if like Ken like figures it out before it's too late type of thing. But I definitely think the women are a lot stronger, which is what Big Brother needs. So I'm okay with it.
Listen, we have 6 people on this cast who have played Sequester.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So Jamal, Abby, John, Jatia, Lauren, and Albert all played. So that could be an interesting dynamic as well.
Wait, when did Albert play Sequester?
He played.
Did he play in a mini? Not a Survivor mini, right?
Yeah, he played in a Survivor mini.
Oh, did?
Yeah. He did relatively well too. I think he made jury, or he was like the boot right before jury. It was one of those two.
Yeah. Well, he made it all the way in Survivor. Made it.
I got to set him up in his room, so I was like, "Yes, one of my favorite under the radar people." Or like,
that's so cool.
I was like, "Yes, your microphone works." Also, I'm a big fan. Like when I was modding.
Also, here's my number, please.
Also, here's my number and my email and my Insta. No.
Yeah, I'll follow you back. It's fine.
Follow back.
So yeah, so
as if I wasn't already following Albert.
right, exactly. All right, guys. So we want to hear down in the comments below, who would you have in this simulation, given all the rules and parameters, of course. So like no winners, no people from the same season that's already represented here. Who did we miss? Who did you guys want in this cast? And we want to hear from you guys who we think your first boot and winner pick would be for this season too. And we'll be playing this out soon just to see who had it right, who had it wrong, and all that fun stuff. But like I said, we just wanted to have some fun tonight. I know like the world is just like very tense right now, and our hearts are really with Allison tonight. She's really going through some personal stuff I don't want to get into or anything, but we just want to say on air that we love you, we support you, all of that fun stuff, and we can't wait for the next show with you because I feel like she just brings a good smile on everybody's face.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I repeat everything. Love you, Allison. Can't wait to do another show with you soon. If you're in my Twitch channel, I am doing a raid to That Sea Monster, a wonderful voice actor and streamer, and she's live. So we're going to throw our chat over there.
All right. So we will see you guys on Thursday to talk about the next Evicted Housecast. Spoiler alert, it's Memphis. So we'll be there to talk about that riveting hour of television. And we'll be back next week to do something fun as well. And if you are interested in becoming a patron of My Weekly Meltdown, go to patreon.com/myweeklymeltdown. Thank you so much, Matt Henning, for all of that and for modding the chat as always. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so definitely check us out there. Give us a review, all of that fun stuff. And of course, like and subscribe us here on YouTube as well. Beth, anything else before we sign off?
No, that's about it.
All right.
I'm excited.
We will see you guys on Thursday. Have a great rest of your night. Take care, stay safe, and wear a mask. Bye.